Hi, my name's Sol, and I'm the head of digital transformation at Vanquis Bank. I've spent over 20 years in the digital sector working for a variety of consultancies and large banking organizations and insurance organizations. My intro to digital was at a time when there weren't courses in computer programming or digital product or anything that you might be aware of today. At that time, you had to teach yourself how to code, and most of the jobs that you will see in the digital sector, I've done them during the course of my career. So I like to think of myself more like a conductor now, articulating and helping to bring the best out of a number of different colleagues who work in different roles for good outcomes. Um, from a educational perspective, I did A levels, then I went to university where I studied an arts-based degree, and then after that I studied a master's, which was also an arts-based, communications-based degree. And then I fell in love with the internet, and here we are today. Um, I like to think of my background as one that was economically poor, but educationally very wealthy. I come from a large family, and both my parents have been married for over 50 years now. So I was fortunate enough to have a father in my life as well as my mum. And they both instilled in myself and my siblings a love of reading and learning, which has stuck with me today. If you can see behind me in my home office, there's a stack of books there. I'm a voracious reader, and hopefully that's something I've passed on to my own three sons who are all under 10. Um, from a personal background perspective, if I, when I was growing up, turned left and walked outside of my house, I went up the hill to what is now still one of the wealthiest areas in not just London, but in the world. And if I turned right and went out my door, I went into an area of London which is still one of the most deprived areas of the country. And I had friends in both areas. Some of them in the wealthier area were um, not as smart as myself, but they had access and exposure to opportunities just because of who they are, where they lived, and all the rest of it. Conversely, some of my friends who were in more deprived areas were much smarter than myself, but again, they didn't have access to and exposure to the tools and mechanisms which showed them what could look like beyond some of the stereotypical trappings of success that you see in most deprived areas in any country around the world. Um, and so I think education can lead to economic empowerment, but I'm not naive enough to not understand that if you can't see it, it's hard for you to be it. One of the reasons I'm making this video is to just say to people that, you know, if you stay true to yourself, if you stay true to your own course of action, you can achieve anything that you want to. Um, when I was growing up, one of the big things that helped me get from doing my A levels through to uni wasn't just studying to pass some exams, it was literally where I studied. So, whilst my house was a loving and stable household, it was very crowded and sporadic in terms of people coming and going because I'm one of many children in a big family. Um, so for me to get the peace and quiet to be able to study for my A levels, um, I had to go to a local library where I went probably two or three times a week, and that enabled me that extra few hours of quiet time to find a good structured place for me to be able to read and retain that learning. And then I went and obviously passed my A levels, and I went to uni, and here we are today. But again, I recognise that that's not necessarily the only path. And when you're young and your friends are doing a variety of different things, it's easy to be able to um, want to do the same things as all your friends. I would encourage everyone to know that it's okay to want to do different things, and it's okay to be yourself. We live now in an era of authenticity, so, it's very important for you to just do the thing that you want to do because, there's only one of you. Okay. Um, anyone who's interested in learning more about digital, I'd urge you to Google a book called Being Digital by a guy called Nicholas Negroponte. And that book I read maybe over 20 years ago now, and it started to really instill um, and excite me in ways that led to me being part of this industry. So I hope this helps. Keep going. Thank you.